still end up not happy. So fail. So that's my take on it. But yeah. So we're moving right along. I'm going to go adjust this thing a little something, for the people. How are you guys doing? How's everybody doing?
Someone's saying something with Kia here today. I don't really know.
No. In the studio? No, she's not in the studio today.
If you guys go on YouTube, we can see your comments on SipsTea the Show on YouTube. It's kind of hard to see them.
Yeah, right here.
Right here. Hey, James, what's going on? Oh, there you go. Here you are. Hey, James, how are you? That was something you just said that was so powerful.
About making other people happy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you end up, greatness.
Because it was really dark.
Yeah,
but we really have to focus on how we do when we're chasing our tail out here.
Yeah.
For everybody else. And it's really a noble thing when you do want other people around you to be happy and stuff like that. That's great. It's great. And if, as a matter of fact, if we all keep that same damn energy, we'll probably all be better off for it. But everybody's not built like that.
Yeah.
Everybody's not out here making it their goal to make you happy.
Mm-hmm.
So as a matter of fact, some people out here and they're not able to see their, get with their own joy. So you're fighting a losing battle. That's the whole thing. Sometimes we're fighting a losing battle. For no damn reason.
Yeah. So, you ready?
Yes, tell the people.
All right, so we're going to start off with, did you brush your feed inside joke from the last week?
Brush your feet or brush your...
Oh, did you wash your feet?
Did you wash your feet? Did you wash them legs?
Did you wash the legs?
Are we applying soap to those legs, y'all?
Exactly.
No, that's a serious question.
And then also too on Killer, if you guys can go to YouTube, we can definitely be able to collaborate together. It's a little bit hard to see the screen on Facebook and Instagram. So if you guys all want to come on YouTube, we have a nice big screen here that we can easily read once she gets it loaded up, that we can actually easily read all the comments. But I'm going to go ahead and get us started on the first part of the show, which is positivity, while she's getting everything set up. And so if you guys all know me and been watching the show, I typically will quote things that are related to my week. Typically, I only have one, but today I have three.
Oh, shit.
So typically I only have one. Let me just put that out there. But today...
Wait, I need to give you a funny ass face for that.
Okay. Shall I wait?
No.
Shall I wait?
Please continue.
Okay. And one of them is not really a quote. It's just a description of myself.
Okay.
The other two are quotes. Okay. So the first quote is, some people succeed because they are destined, but most people because they are determined.
Mm-hmm.
It's two different things. People are destined to be great. Some people are determined to be great. Some people are in position to, like, for instance, Will Smith's kids are probably destined to be great. You know what I'm saying?
Accidentally.
They're going to be great, right? But you have those people like myself and like GemDTwin who are determined to be great. And don't let anybody take that determination from you. Because that's honestly what people will do. They will try to discourage you.
People are succubuses.
Yeah, they'll
succubi,
discourage
whatever you call it.
But you can't allow them to do that.
Right.
And then second of all, you have to push yourself because no one else is going to do it for you. I think that's another deep one.
Absolutely.
Simple but deep, you know.
Yeah,
no one's gonna push you.
Mm-mm. As a matter of fact, some people will be trying to push you away from whatever it is that you're trying to do. Exactly. Some people will push you directly in the beware of all of that. It gets that real. And I think it's always important to say that not all of these people that we're talking about pushing you in opposite directions and, you know, really being a succubus and not really caring, not all of them are doing it on purpose.
Yeah.
So sometimes, even just like how, you know, we talk about bad guys and bad women and things like that, not all of them are maliciously trying to do the shit that they're doing. So we all have to be aware of the fact that person who may do detriment to you or to your life, or this thing that might do detriment to your life or something like that, is not always, they don't always look like that. They don't always, it doesn't always come in a black package with the dun dun dun. You know, it's not always wrapped in ugliness. Sometimes it's wrapped in rose petals and flowers and things like that. And then we get caught up before you actually get to the place where you realize that shit is not for you. That this person is actually drifting you further away from whatever it is that you need and what you want. And yeah, let's go back to what you need. Then they're taking you towards it. So it's you know, that's why they always call, I don't know about if y'all church going folks or spiritual, whatever, but a lot of times you pray for the spirit of discernment so that you can discern which lane you're supposed to be in and what is for you and what's not, because it's not fucking easy.
No.
And 9 times out of 10, if you anything like me, once you set your feet in that path, you want to go down that path. You don't want to just like, you know, once especially me with being that Gemini mind, it takes me a long time to make a decision anyway. Once I solidify my decision and I'm like, yes, this is what I'm going to do, it takes me a minute to say, oh no, I need to like actually break and go left because this is not for me. So just be careful, y'all, because
and also too, don't matter. Push for you.
Yeah.
Push for you. Push harder for you. We as people will push hard
for other people.
Yeah. We'll push hard for a relationship. We'll push hard for a job. But you gotta push hard for yourself.
Absolutely.
Because at the end of the day, those things, jobs, relationships, friendships, whatever, are all replaceable.
Unfortunately.
And it's unfortunate.
Yeah.
But the thing will remain the same is self. And so my last thing about, you know, speaking of self, and I never do this, but something just stood out to me as well. And, you know, once again, I typically will quote about what it is that I'm going through. And so for me, this really stood out to me. It defined who I was. At least I thought it did. So it said, she's always straightforward and honest. She has strong opinions and will openly speak about them. She is fiercely passionate when she finds something she wants to do, but will be extremely focused, and she will be extremely focused and put her all into it. She is energetic and she is active, and she always seems on the go. And I think that described me in a nutshell, basically. Mm-hmm. You know, and just trying to understand. I think as people, sometimes we don't understand who we are.
Yeah, and that's a problem. Ooh, the girl Ajna, if anybody's on Instagram and you catch it, her page is like _ Ajna, AGNA or ANGA or something like that. That one has a very powerful, like aggressive spirit about her. But a lot of times I'm say time because I don't say all the time for anything in life anymore. But a lot of times she's speaking some real stuff. And one of the last things was actually on her live talking about was she just does this series called The Healing Place, I think. Mm-hmm. Let me brew her real quick. But she's doing this series called The Healing Place. And so everything that she does on her live is very positive and things like that. And it's centered on knowing yourself and knowing what's going around you and basically not being here for the bullshit. So one of the last things that she was saying was like, know yourself. So basically people can't come tell you who you are, because someone will come and tell you who you are, and then you will unfortunately buy into that shit. You know? Yeah. And I started thinking back about a whole lot of relationships that I was in, a whole lot of, you know, and a whole lot of who I am now, to do with one little thing that somebody said back in the day. If y'all remember, GemDTwin said the other day, like, it would be great to remember that we were before somebody else started fucking with you. Same thing. Before somebody started throwing in your pot, who you were You are this, you're not that. You need to be the expert on you. You are the expert on you. Can't nobody tell you who you are better than you. You know what I'm saying? And that's when your shit stinks and when it doesn't. But it is very, very true that one thing that somebody says could like affect you for so long. I mean, I remember even back in grade school, I always tell this story because people historically, if you saw me at a club or something like that, all you knew was that I liked to dance. I wanted to dance. I don't care who's around, I don't care what's going on. That's what I would do. But that's because I find a freedom in that, because a long time ago, I'm talking about Catholic grade school, red light, green light, pity pat, Miss Mary Met stage. We were at a party and the little girls, everybody's in their clique. And I remember them standing around. I shouldn't say it, but this when people was doing the snake. And they were everybody's like pointing fingers and like, look how she does it. Look, look at this face. So that rang with me for so long that I remember a time when I didn't dance at all. I just would not dance. Paralyzed to the dancing until I was like, this, you get the music, you feel the music, you want to just dance. Like dancing is part of our energy and part of our soul. People dance to tell stories and they dance 1,000 different reasons, but that was almost taken out of me in grade school because people were laughing. People, so just be careful because we are so susceptible a lot of times to the shit that other people put on us. And then meaning, like when they mean to do it and when they don't, people put shit on you all the time. So it's important to get to know yourself.
Yeah.
Now, let me tell y'all with my little positivity is, and I will move it along gracefully, okay? Since Eb Deceleb decides I have 17 today, and I'm usually the one to get my 17 on, okay? But I did want to share with you guys, I'm about this management of the expectations. Manage your expectations sometimes. So one thing that came to me, and this is the GemDTwin and Eb Deceleb, okay? Stop looking for validation from people that you don't even respect. We continue to, and that just goes back to what we were saying about somebody fucking with you, or going back to, letting people tell you who you are. We even let people who we don't even fuck with tell us who we are. We let people who we don't like tell us who we are. Like if you're lucky in life, you have set your sights on somebody who you could not emulate, but like a model. Somebody who, you look at, you're like, oh yeah, she's a fucking boss, and you think about the qualities that makes that person and whether or not you see those qualities in yourself and what the qualities that you want to have in yourself that you see reflected in someone else. Now see that person coming up to you because you have major respect for that person and saying, hey, you know what, maybe you should kill it with the jean jackets, like just stop. And then I go, oh, well, you know what? Maybe just shouldn't wear jean jackets because I trust your fucking opinion. But here you go, Joe Blow off the street who wears things that you don't even get with it, that you don't like, you don't fuck with in the first place. And this Joe Blow comes up to you and says stuff, and you take weight with what Joe Blow says as well. Maybe the color you should wear is orange. Next thing you know, you're showing up wearing orange everywhere because Joe Blow over here, who you don't even fucking respect. You don't even like what Joe Blow wears, but all of a sudden, what he said is sticking in your head, in your head. So it's really important that we cleanse our spirit and cleanse our minds and like focus on who we are and who we actually want to be, because at any given point, the thousands and billions of people in this world could come along and fuck it up if you're not strong enough. And I want everybody to be mindful as we go through our trials and tribulations out here, that your worst day, whatever your worst day is, your worst day is actually preparing you for your best day. One we cannot have without the other. They just don't exist. If we don't work in the world of extremes, then we never really see the potential and actualize the greatest potential that we have. If you were always happy, you wouldn't understand. If you were never sad, you would never understand how happy you could be. If you were, and vice versa, all of these things work together. The things that we don't deal with, If you want pleasure is never as great to people who don't understand what pain is. If you never understood what pain was, you never experienced pain, you would never understand how good pleasure is. You know, I mean, we get pleasure like, hey, thank you, but you know that attitude of gratitude. A lot of people, after you go through shit, you become very gracious. You're now you're grateful for a whole lot of shit that you never even noticed, you know. So just, you know, maintain that attitude of gratitude, people, and just remember our worst times, you know, that bad day that you're having is preparing you for your best day. The comeback is real. So that is it for PositiviTEA, and we did a little bit of Brewing TEA as well. I think y'all should actually drop, if you guys know some people that are on Instagram or social media that are actually spreading a positive message, that are actively, you know, engaging and changing the conversations that we have there. Drop a line, like tag us in some of their shit, like let us know who these people are, because we all need to be filled sometimes with something that's not some bullshit, because we're all... Last week we were telling you guys, and we actually brewed the promoters and the performers and things like that from DC Black Pride Unleashed. Right about now is the Pride season around the world, so you know every state is going to have their Pride celebration or whatever, and Unleashed DC was here in DC, and that's what was going on in the city this weekend, this past weekend. Eb Deceleb and I got out a little something. Eb Deceleb, let me brew her for a second, okay? For the party that she threw. Well, I don't want to say that because I don't want to take away from the promoters. The promoters you guys are amazing, and we are thankful that you put together quality events. Shout out to Z. Everybody knows Z from A to Z events. I've always admired her and got a lot of little side love for her anyway, just because some time ago I interviewed her for a publication that we were working on. And we were talking to her about being a promoter in DC, and she has always been committed to promoting, to creating really not necessarily always upscale, but upscale events, like events that, you know, you can be proud of, you know, events that everybody will go to, from, you know, the youngest to the oldest. And literally that's what we had. It was a nice mix. I saw some of the younger ones, 21 and over, of course, to some of our older LGBTQ community as well. And everybody came out and had a ball. So shout out to her, shout out to the promoters that put it together, shout out to the DJs, shout out to the door people, shout out to everybody who made that possible. And Eb Deceleb, you know, event planning is her thing. It's her thing. And I really feel like you know, I can't speak for them, but I really feel like, okay, let me say as a patron of the event, the scene was definitely set. She was over there, you know, crossing all the I's and crossing all the T's and dotting the I's and everything. So she was definitely in her element. And so I caught a little bit of that as well on camera. Maybe I'll get to show you guys at some point. But yeah, she was doing her thing, you know. And then, of course, she knows everybody. And I'm over here telling people, you know, you should have an event. And they're like, I've already got one planned. And I'm like, okay, just saying. Taking notes, you know. So that was great. And I really need to shout out everybody for those things that were happening. And I remember Z saying, she was like, yeah, remember when the only parties we could go to, you couldn't even like walk on the floor. The floor is super sticky. And it was just, you know.
It was a good time.
Yeah, but it was a good time. This was a good time and a good venue, a great venue. That was an amazing time that we had. So shout out to everybody who had their pride parties and things like that, some after hours events, all of those things. You guys can let us know. Send us some pictures and let us know where you were on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else you want to talk about with that whole little situation? Okay, the tea has been brewed, people. Let me take a little sip. Okay, the tea was the tea. Now let's move into tea time. So tea time is, again, when I started this show, I remember I said we just want to go willy-nilly. I'm not feeling willy or nilly right now, but I digress and I will continue. Tea time is a section of the show when we talk about the things that are going on around us.
Mm-hmm.
All the Shitsville, all of the things that are just taking place in the world around us. And recently it was brought to my attention that allegedly Safari was our boy Safari. You know, don't get me wrong, it doesn't always have to be celebrity news, but the fuckery is among us. And it brings up good questions, not necessarily just the actual celebrities themselves, but the questions that come up about it. So people, if you guys have been watching Safari, Safari's a musician, rapper, whatever you want to call him, and Erica Mena, who has become a personality since Love and Hip Hop.
A video vixen
turned straight, turned lesbian, turned back straight, turned Bow Weezy, turned away from Bow Weezy, turned to now Safari.
She was like $10.
Rich, okay, but now she has stopped with his pen, okay?
Yeah, she was also dating a guy that passed away too.
Oh, wow.
One that died a couple weeks before Nipsey did.
Oh, okay. I didn't know. Wow. I feel like Erica gets a bad rap. I'm gonna leave that right there.
I think, you know what though, when people don't, you know what, I'm not about it. When you say she gets a bad rap, when people don't understand what people go through or understand people's struggle or understand people's mentality or the state of being, they typically go to the negative route.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Because that's all they know. That's what the world wants us to think. That's what people want us to think about her. But nobody gives them a chance to know them as a person.
Absolutely.
And what she actually puts out there.
You know why though? Because that's easy.
It's easier. It's easier to blame somebody. It's easier to. That's the thing. It's easy to blame somebody, but it's harder. It's easy to blame somebody, but it's harder to look in the mirror.
Yes, absolutely.
And a lot of people
look in the mirror, and also just take a look at somebody else. Like, you know, sometimes you can't go off on, like, I literally was at my job talking about this today, but you can't just look at somebody on the surface. Elements, bullshit, good things, bad things, things that have happened to us, things that we've done to ourselves, thoughts, actions, all of those things. We're all, and then you have the everyday things that happen to us, and we're all made up of all of those things. So when you see somebody and you just immediately judge them based upon one or two actions that you might actually see. Oh, I saw them do this, I saw them do that, you know. I remember I had a friend who always hung around guys. And so one day, you know, when we got older, another of our friends came to her, and mind you, I knew this, and so I knew that she wasn't promiscuous or anything. She just was more comfortable having male friends and things like that. And another one of our friends came to her and was like, you know what? I always assumed you were, you know, just basically fucking everybody. And it was like really crazy to her because that was just on what I saw. It was based on the fact that I always saw you with a guy, you know, and that was like, that was like the furthest thing from the truth. That was like the last thing that she was thinking about doing with any of the guys that we saw her with. Yeah, absolutely. Those were really her friends. But to the outside world, I see you hanging with these guys, and, you know, it gives people a chance to formulate an opinion and just assume. So I try not to do that because I don't know you and I don't know your story and I don't know what's going on. And then even people, when they tell you their story, you only getting half of it. There's no way you can sit here and tell somebody your entire shit. You know what I mean? If you've been on this earth 20 plus years, you got 20 years of story to tell somebody. And how do you unpack that?
Yeah.
So I'm going to leave Erica Mena alone because I know a lot of people are like, oh, well, you know, she basically jumping dick to dick and she's doing this and she's doing that.
She's doing what everybody does. She's
Absolutely.
doing it on TV.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? She's doing what everybody does. And that's the thing about people. We're so quick to judge things we don't know. All that girl might want to do is just find love and find happiness.
Absolutely.
And stay out the way.
Yeah.
It just so happens to people already have this perception of her. When you already have the perception of somebody, it's hard to make them to see
to do something different. Yeah.
Because you already have
you're always
perception.
this and you're always that, and we'll just leave it at that.
It's almost like you're damned if you do, you're damned if
absolutely.
you don't. The girl tried to get with one guy and tried to be with that one guy, but well, guess what? It didn't work out. Supposed to stay single for the rest of her life. No, she gotta move on. But now she's a hoe because she done moved on to safari. If she's getting into these relationships, hopping in and out, not looking for marriage, then that's one thing. But if she's getting into these relationships and committing, that's a whole different subject.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Like, people got to do what they got to do to find their happiness. Like I said, it's just so unfortunate for her. And listen to one of her interviews. She said she actually doesn't like to be on social media. She doesn't post everything about her. People don't even really know her. Mm-hmm. They only know what she wants them to know.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So I just think that people and their perceptions can get the fuck.
Right. I mean, hello. Sometimes you got to tell people where to go with it and just actually keep that in your mind, because again, with the mind fucking, like, we are susceptible to, the masses sometimes, especially nowadays when the masses have such close contact with you. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, and you can only imagine being someone of some kind of stature in that, popularity or whatever. Mm-hmm. And you go post one picture, next thing you know, you got 15,000 comments.
Exactly.
Literally comments of people saying something to you, which you're not, you may or may not read, but not only are they saying stuff to you, they're saying stuff about you, good and bad. Mm-hmm. Then other people are having arguments and conversations with that person about you. It's just like, it's crazy. So I can only imagine, how that might feel, especially if, we all have things that are based in insecurities and things like that as well. So as the story goes, and I wished I was trying to find the interview, because I was looking at an interview that Erica met. It wasn't even an interview. Actually, she was kind of clapping back a little bit because DJ Envy, was it, right? Mm-hmm. DJ Envy, allegedly, DJ Envy had a long-term relationship with, like, years, ongoing situation with Erica Mena, who did not know that the whole time he was married, because he done took his wife and like moved her all the way out West Mumfuck. So she really doesn't have contact with, let's just say all of the people around. So if I want to date somebody, have some out on the street, blah, 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 it's not my wife, it's Erica Mena. Mm-hmm. And then after all of the shit hit the fan, basically Erica Mena found out that he was married and all this other stuff. But after all the shit hit the fan, he apologized publicly to his wife, yes. But he also blackballed
Erica Mena.
He blackballed Erica Mena, mm-hmm. So she's not allowed on things like the Breakfast Club. And it's funny because we have to actually look into who owns what. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Who's a part of what. Mm-hmm. Because if you have influence somewhere, and then you get to call the shots at that location. Now, if I have my hand in 4 different pots, then that's 4 different places I can blackball you from. So it's like I can get you to be blackballed from the radio station. I can blackball you from your podcast, and blackball you from a whole lot of different avenues and stuff. So apparently Safari got blackballed, so he was not welcome because of Erica Mena. And of course she's not welcome, but her blast, she was actually talking about the fact that, like, basically she's never gotten a fair shot in the media. And she's saying that she never got a fair shot in the media basically because of DJ Envy. Like, basically she's always made to look a certain way because she's the thought, she's the this, she's the that, she's the side bitch. You know what I'm saying? Even though, like, seriously, how long do we carry on these relationships with side bitches? Mm-hmm. Really, do you? Like, is it a long-term side bitch?
Admit it. You loved her. You never.
Absolutely.
Like,
but he definitely.
People don't take accountability. They gotta find. That's what I'm telling you. People have to find somebody else to blame.
Yes.
Their shit is fucked up. They gotta find somebody else to blame because they can't have the eyes pointing on them.
Absolutely.
They gotta point that shit on somebody else and take somebody else through the fucking mud when it really don't even have nothing to do with you.
He called her out of her name. He basically said he didn't know why he would go and do that. It was based on his insecurities, and he didn't know why he would basically go and date somebody who's beneath him. Not even date, but like deal with somebody who was beneath him. This was in his, basically in order to continue to apologize to his wife, you know, he put her all the way under. So, you know, she's beneath me and this, that, and the other. And, you know, it was out of control, because that's the thing. Who else out here bad mouths their ex? You know, do we bad mouth our exes when we, we're not with them anymore? Mm-hmm. But James said that said how one, how one can blackball you. Yeah. Exactly.
I want to know though how Erica Mena didn't know.
Well, if I don't, okay, so she was like, for years she'd never seen a wedding ring. He's taking me on trips. You buying me shit. You're publicly taking me around your friends, because also allegedly Charlamagne the God knew, Angela Yee knew, like everybody else on the show, like everybody knows except the wife, because you keep me all the way out here. You know, it's like taking you, not even down there. Like, let's take you and land you in New York, and I'll do all my business up here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Long as we don't got no pictures taken or anything for you to see in that respect, then yeah, I can keep you to my secret. And then how do you know that you're being treated like a side bitch when you're getting everything that you know what I'm saying?
That a main bitch was.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
What's the definition of a side bitch?
Hello. So
that's the thing.
Yeah, but it's also just sad, even when we don't take it so far as to say how they got blackballed. Now, it's funny that we are actually getting to the point where we're blackballing you both because of affiliation.
Exactly, but that don't got nothing to do with Safari.
Yeah, but you know what? One thing I do like about Safari, publicly at least, as to how he was, he's down for his woman. He's like, look, I'm not about to do all of this shit with y'all.
Yeah,
because this is my woman and this is who I love, and I appreciate
somebody that can stand up.
Yeah, especially if she didn't really do anything wrong. Yeah. You know, now do we stand behind our mates in the same way when they did?
Publicly, you always stand behind your mate. Privately, you get into their shit.
Yeah.
Publicly, the world's already humiliating them.
Right.
She don't need to be humiliated by the one she's sleeping with.
Right. Absolutely.
Privately, we can have a conversation.
Definitely, you know, as you can see, it was like a lot of those people, if you guys watch Love and Hip Hop, there was a lot of people who, you know, he was friends with, but all of a sudden, because of their they can't be friends anymore because that's your woman and, you know, this, that, and the other. So it's crazy. I mean, you should never lose people over love. It seems like, you know, let me love who I'm going to love. And
exactly.
And just let it be there. But you mad, like we don't own people either. So let's be real here. But so yeah, that was interesting to me just to find that out. And just to look at how the industry kind of plays out as well.
Yeah.
Because on one level, you know, you get to go do Love and Hip Hop, you get the publicity there. And if you've watched, there's a lot of people who have popped off and done a whole lot of other stuff. You know what I mean? We got Joe Budden and Sin Santana. Now they're together. They, you know, everybody's parlaying and doing their own thing. But they've all publicly decided to be against Erica Mena for one reason or another. Yes, there were relationships. Yes, people's little hearts were broken and like that. But technically, you got to think about it too.
She was broken too.
She was broken too. And then seriously, I mean, the way I look at it too is if the people who you wanted to, because say they all wanted to deal with each other, but if somebody ever did you wrong, you would never get to the person that you were actually supposed to be with. I'm just saying. So, you know, don't take it so leave it be. But anyway, and last week I think we were talking about the whole washing of the washing of the leg situation. So if anybody has been talking to anybody this week about whether or not they wash their legs, whether or not they wash their feet, y'all still need to give us some feedback on that, because it was touch and go. It was touch and go, but it was a whole thing. It was a whole thing. Do you want to move into this?
Yeah. I definitely think I was looking at this, trying to see if we can find out more about this whole situation, but then I stumbled across this. And then, but Nick Cannon said it was a lie.
She's looking at something about Nick
movie after receiving death threats, fearing he would end up like Nipsey Hussle. And then Nick Cannon responded, "Oh, they wish this was the truth. Who made this dumb shit? LOL fearless, hashtag fearless." Like people, I swear to God, people on this social media bullshit. I mean,
doing way too much.
Way too much. I don't know. Like I was about to say, and then I had to read it. I'm like, that's a lie.
Right.
You know, like
it's way. I mean, you tried deciphering the truth from a lie.
Yeah, that you can.
We also, we were talking about something before the show that we really wanted to bring up, and it was talking about people's circumstance.
Yeah.
And whether your circumstance kind of goes to your quote too, from earlier, but whether your circumstance or circumstance or situation. Yes. One of the viewers said this, and so we kind of wanted to talk about it on the show as well.
It says, are people poor and broke because of circumstances or determination?
So are people poor and broke because of circumstances or because of determination or lack thereof?
Or the lack of determination.
Yeah. And me personally, I feel like both has something to do with what's going on, because it could be your circumstance that affects your ability to have determination.
Because you don't know better.
Because you don't know better. You know, seed never planted. If the seed was never planted, how does the plant grow? You know, some of us, I agree with both too. I strongly believe that, you know, I always will say greatness is a birthright.
Yeah.
You know, we are all born to be great. You could, you know, but geographically you could be placed in the wrong place for your greatness, honey. That's why sometimes it's like opening up yourself to the universe or to what life has to offer, hearing that inner voice. But sometimes you can't even get to the inner voice because of the clutter of the other things that are around you as well. Let's be clear. You know what I'm saying? It's hard, you know, even in my profession, in the job that I do, I face a lot of people who maybe this is all you see. And if this is all you see,
is all you know.
This is all you see. This is what you know. How does somebody tell you it's different? Absolutely. Absolutely.
What you've been exposed to. But I think too, though, with that being said, we're all given the birthright
to be great.
To be great. We're all given the right to live. How long we live, that's up to God. What we do while we're alive, that's up to us.
Absolutely.
That's up to you. You know what I'm saying? And for me, like, the path for me wasn't clear. It was very, you know, if I made one wrong turn, I could end up one way. And if I made the other wrong turn, I could end up the other way. But I think that my determination, because my circumstance, I didn't have a bad circumstance. I had bad situations.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So there's a difference.
But we're all privy to that one. You know, I don't think that anybody makes it to their adulthood, the real adulthood, without bad situations.
Bad situation. Yeah. And so it was my determination to say, this is what I'm not going to be. Not because of the circumstance, because both my parents growing up were attorneys.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So the circumstances was there.
Yeah.
But situations that were presented could have caused me to go down the wrong path.
Yeah, because that was you navigating your life.
Exactly. So
and you get to actually steer the ship directly into some rocks or go for the smooth sailing. You know what I mean? And sometimes that's a chance thing. You know, sometimes there are plenty of us out there where shit just happened to you, bruh. You know what I mean?
You like, damn.
Things that you had no...
Or, too, it could be people. It could be like, damn, how come I'm working all this, doing all that, doing everything right, and I'm getting shitted on?
Absolutely.
That could also have to do with situation.
It happens to people a lot.
A lot. Like even you, we've been doing this for how long?
Absolutely.
And you got people out here who are just starting a podcast with 50 million followers. We got people like Just Hilarious who can say a few funny videos. We've been doing this for how long?
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's just like you gotta keep determined. You gotta keep with the determination.
You gotta be determined
despite the situation. and despite the circumstance.
Absolutely.
You can't allow that to motivate your success or drive your determination. I mean, this determination word is really getting out there.
And you got to be consistent. You got to be determined consistent. And you got to be consistent. But what happens when you don't know
consistent knowing the facts?
What to be determined about? Some people don't even get that. Some people don't get to even see what it is to be or experience what it is that they're passionate about to find how to be great. You know what I mean? Like, what happens if you get no push in any direction at all?
That's the real question.
You are literally just surviving. Exactly.
Like, especially if you're that is definitely the questions that is the real question. What if you get nothing? What if you don't know anything? How does one expect one to survive when one's never been exposed to the survival trait?
Right. Well, you know what? I think the survival thing is something that we learn. But we want to get past the point where we're just surviving.
But nobody wants to do that
when you're just surviving. You're not really living.
You're not living. But then, and now today's economy, though, social media, television, there's ways to get exposed to those lifestyles.
Yeah.
Not like back in the day.
But are those lifestyles, do they seem attainable to you when that has never been your example?
Well, but I don't know, because Tyler Perry was homeless.
Yeah.
And he was in a bad circumstance. But when he became who he became that from being in a bad circumstance.
So what happens if you never heard Tyler Perry's story?
There's so many stories like Tyler Perry.
But what if you don't hear them?
What do you mean as an individual person?
As an individual person. I mean, I really believe that sometimes we look up upon information that really, really changes our life, but we have to also be cognizant of the fact that some people don't even get that. And that sometimes I feel like is by design. Like, sometimes, the world is not set up for.
I think if we went that deep though, by design, because the way of the world is set up for us to not get past a certain point.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way that this world is set up for us not to get past a certain point. They want to put you here. That's why if we were to put it like that, the way that we're designed, the rich are to continue being richer, the poor are continue to be poor, and the middle class are just making it. And we're designed to be that way. Mm-hmm. We're not because if you try to go one way and do this, then you could be affecting this.
Right.
So the way that the world is designed, unfortunately, unless you are you're determined.
It's everybody's job to break through whatever their particular barrier.
So the way the world is designed, it's designed for us to not make it.
Absolutely.
And it's so unfortunate. It's designed for us to just see what success looks like, the bare tip of it. It's designed.
And most of us can only see what people are giving us.
That's what it's designed to do. Yeah. To dangle a carrot.
Yeah.
It's not designed to say that you're gonna get it.
Right.
But it's designed to say that it's there.
I mean, you gotta think about goals too. Out here with goals, like some people literally, and the funny part is this, I always say this particular thing. Whatever makes you happy. If you have just your basics and that brings you the greatest joy, have that shit. Yeah. Like, so that is not to take anything from it. Some of my clients, they're happy with Section 8, they're happy with this, they're happy with that. They don't want any, this is good. This is how you live that good life.
But with that comes, you have to educate them on letting them know this is something that was designed to control your environment.
Right.
That's where you have to start educating them on. Section 8 is not the way to go all the time. Food stamps, you can go get a job and make your own money and pay for your own food and pay for. But see, the way of the world, they designed for this to look like a glamorous life. But in fact, it's the exact opposite, because now what you're doing is you're being controlled and consumed by Uncle Sam. I'll say that. Uncle Sam, whether he's white or black. Being consumed by Uncle Sam. So we still have to educate our patrons and educate our brothers and sisters to let them know, just because this is the designed way for us to maintain doesn't mean the best way to maintain.
Of course. I mean, first of all, everybody has to find their own path. And I think if we're talking about...
We don't educate our people enough, though.
We have to start educating our people on, or educating each other on in general, is thinking outside the box.
Absolutely.
Whatever your box is, what else? Seriously, because some people, your box is work your job.
Yeah.
Till you are, blue in the face, till the nubs, work your job, take care of home, take care of family, blah, blah, blah. Those are all great things. But are you fulfilled? You know what I'm saying? We're not really actually taught to be fulfilled either in life. You know what I'm saying? And some of us end up, just basically chasing that same carrot.
We basically end up working to live.
Yeah.
Working to live. And then you work so hard for a company and you do so much for a company, not realizing how expendable you are to that company.
Absolutely.
So that's why.
And that's the biggest thing. Yeah, you expendable as hell.
Oh yeah. It don't matter what you do, how hard you do it.
You can.
In their mind, somebody else could do it better.
And just even if nobody came along to do it better, sometimes they just decide, you know what, we're just not going to do that anymore.
Yeah.
So, people can pick and choose and decide to up, and they will uproot you at any given point. You know what I'm saying? So as long as it suits whatever. That is the reason why, part of the reason why I like to do this show, part of the reason why I do what I do in life in general is because I want to create a reciprocal energy for us to actually help each other, teach each other, create a sense of community that actually makes things a little bit different for us in general. You know what I'm saying? Like, get to the point where we have jobs to offer each other. Get to the point where, the mindset changes to where your people are not expendable, because then maybe the people will become not expendable. Because let's be clear, some people walk into the job and it is just a JAB, a jab to them, and they don't do it to the best of their ability, because really at the end of the day, you don't really care about it, because the job don't care about you either. You're just working to get your check. Yeah. So that means I'm not going the extra mile. I'm not giving you nothing extra. I'm giving you exactly what it is that you asked me for, and then I'm gonna go home. And that's all great because it keeps things above board, but at the same time, is it making your shit great? Mm-hmm. For my company, what I would like is for my people to be passionate about the shit that I'm asking you to do, so that you feel, passionate about fucking doing it. You know what I'm saying?
Managing expectations.
Right. Taking me down. We could be at 90%, but we could be at 90% and everything will be great. But if everybody is like super on board, then we're at 110. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing you can tell us. So it's just one of those things. And so back to the question though, what makes us? Determination or situation? I think we kind of agree that it's circumstance or determination. Mm-hmm. I think you can't really get away from both.
It has to be both.
The beauty, though, if you want to focus on something,
your circumstance makes you who you are today. The circumstance that you went through made you who you are today. The circumstance that I go through, went through, and will go through in the future is going to shape me to the person that I'm going to become.
Maybe that's how you found your determination to do something different.
Absolutely.
The same way, let's all be clear. People sometimes that are born with what we call a silver spoon in their mouth, and they get everything that they want. They're actually not determined to do shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm not saying that it's just a poor situation, a bad situation that makes people one way versus, versus the other, because so it's, sometimes it's hit or miss. Like, it depends on that individual, and circumstances change.
Yes.
Circumstances can change all the time, and that's what makes
situations.
Situations
even
and
if your
circumstances
don't change, even if guess what? Even if you were brought up into a certain circumstance and that circumstance never changed, because that's who my mother is. She's this person. She's this way. The situation can still change.
Absolutely. The situation is bound to change because at some point we grew up in our households. We're under someone else, and then you're out on your own. That situation, that circumstance just changed for you.
Just changed.
You know what I'm saying?
Your responsibility is to
figure it out.
Is to not figure it out.
Navigate.
Is to create your own circumstance.
Yes. Create a new circumstance out of your situation.
Yeah. That was a good question.
Yeah, that was a good question. Let us know what you guys think.
If y'all have questions too, like, that's the type of stuff, like, we love to just elaborate and go in on what you guys are thinking.
Yeah. Because there's no bluept to this thing we call life.
It's not.
You know what I'm saying? And all we can do is sit here and collaborate and try to just navigate through this shit together, because there's so many things that happen to us and happen around us.
Yeah.
And for instance, if Eb Deceleb and I are both sitting here and something has happened to Eb, but she never shares her story with me, when I encounter the very same thing, I got to start all over.
Get you some answers.
Okay. So relationship etiquette. Okay. What are our signs that relationships are abusive? And we have to remember again that there are thousands of different kinds of abuse, and that it's not always, if somebody punched you in your eye, you would know, oh, red flag, that's not cool. Okay, don't punch me. Okay. You know that you're being abused. If somebody is consistently speaking to you negatively, calling you out your name, doing things that are on our highest level abusive, you know that that's abuse, right? But what about situations where people maybe just shoot down the things that you say all the time? I have an idea, and they're like, no, that's dumb. Is that abusive? Could that get to a point where that's
demoralizing?
Abusive? And is that abusive?
Yeah.
You know? Or we were talking about phone etiquette earlier. Is it because there's an element of abuse and element of controlling that comes into play, right? Sometimes in relationships of all kinds, right? Even with friendships. So Eb Deceleb, if I'm trying to call you and I call you back to back to back to back to back, is that abusive or controlling? Like, what's your take on that? We're friends, because all of these things are the ships, right? When we talk about affinity, we're talking about the ships, okay? And I strongly really believe that the same things that happen within relationships are the same things that happen within friendships and work relationships and things like that. So even if it's not me, like your boss, back to back to back. So your boss calls you one time, you don't answer, right? You're busy, or otherwise you might be on the motherfucking toilet. Okay, so you're thinking, I'm gonna call him back. Calls you again within 5 minutes. Calls you again within 5 minutes. Calls you again within 5 minutes. Is that controlling? Is that abusive? Like, how do you categorize what just happened?
I'm glad you specified the job.
Okay, because
I blows up my girlfriend's phone when she don't answer. I'm like, okay, let me call again. Maybe she didn't see the first call.
Okay, so now let's talk about that, and this is so great, because this is something like you're telling me that this is something that you
job.
do.
Why the hell you calling me so many times? The building must be burning down.
Right. So when your job calls you a million times, you think, what do you want? The building must be burning down.
Yeah, don't.
But when you call your girlfriend a million times, she's like, "What is the building falling down?" Yeah. What should her?
I'm gonna just
reaction?
assume that she didn't see the first call.
Okay, so how many times? Okay, you can miss the first one. You can miss. How many calls can you miss? I mean, like, you can miss the first one.
Answer.
So I'm gonna call you till you answer.
I don't know.
James said, "Folks don't leave a message. If folks don't leave a message, it's not important. If you can't leave a message, right? So, okay, listen. So now Eb Deceleb she has called you. She did not leave a message, because right now she wants you to answer the fucking phone. That's just what you want. And you see how I'm phrasing this though, because what I want is for you to answer the phone. So now I'm actually, by calling you again, am I not demanding that you answer the phone? And then when I call again, am I not demanding that you answer the phone right fucking now? And again, James, she has not left a message. There's nothing on fire. She's not in desperate dire need.
But here's the thing: I will leave a message too, because I'm gonna my text message is everything okay. That's it.
Okay. Because under no certain circumstances should she not answer the phone for you.
But I've been having to work on that because of the fact she could be asleep.
She could be asleep. What else could be going on?
Wake up.
So you are now addicted. No, because this happens. And what I'm going to tell you, like from my perspective, when other people see it, it looks really strange, okay? It looks really strange when your significant other, your boss, or anybody is blowing you up, okay? So James, now she's that she called you and she left you a text message.
Is
Okay.
everything okay?
The text message says, is everything okay? Is it? So then we just call again. Now, the thing is, was that call to say, is everything okay? Because that's not what you care about. What you really care about is, I'm calling you. I want this phone answered now.
Mm-hmm.
So my thing is, no shade, but does that become a little bit abusive and controlling? Because now
it does.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
It's selfish.
All right.
I'm being honest.
Okay.
It becomes all of those things, but that's where you have to start working in on yourself. And then you also too, that other person on the other end shouldn't tolerate it. That's something that bothers you or that's where communication comes in. Let's communicate about this. If I don't answer the phone 10 out of 10, I'm sleeping on this. Now, if I blatantly just ignore the fact that we just had a long conversation about the fact that you don't like me calling multiple times, then now I'm disrespectful. And now
yes. And that's okay. So here we go. Now we have set a precedence because I told you how I felt about it.
Yes.
Now, despite hearing how I felt about it, you just made you blatantly made a decision to continue to do it.
Yeah.
So now it's a little bit disrespectful.
Yes.
Okay. Interesting.
So that's my take on it. But so that's something that, because me and my girlfriend, we do have conversations, because if she doesn't answer, I do call back. But lately, when she doesn't answer, I wait an hour.
Okay. I think that's appropriate.
I'm getting better.
Okay.
I wait an hour or 39 minutes. Okay. But 39 minutes. But no, but I do think that if you guys have a conversation now, if you don't have a conversation and you have set the standard that that's okay, then you can't expect somebody else to know.
Because to me, like back-to-back phone calls, I don't know. It makes me feel a way. It makes me feel like you are going to punch me in my eye.
Okay.
No, seriously. Calling me back to back makes me feel like you are threatening me almost. Mm-hmm. And that's why I think it was important for me to like bring this up, because like I said, it's in relationships, it's with jobs, it's with friendships. When you do that, it either, because if my family calls me back, my family members call me back to back, that second call was an accident. And they say, you know what, my bad, I accidentally called you the second time. Okay, but now if you called me 2 and 3 and 4 times back to back, it's almost like, I don't give a fuck what you're doing. I need you to answer this phone right now. Okay. And Jane said, like, if there's some kind of emergency, then I would expect you to like lay out that there's an emergency, because you don't know what I'm doing at that moment. I very well might be carrying on a conversation and just want to finish my goddamn. Exactly. Let me just put a period on this, and then I'll give you a call back. For whatever reason, I chose not to answer that device. You know what I mean? And then whatever. So for me, it feels a little bit threatening. I know you guys let us know if anybody else has felt that way, but to me, it feels a little bit threatening. And I think also it might be if I'm in the company of someone else.
Disrespectful.
Yeah, it feels. But I think
even also
worse
too, on the flip side, if you are in the midst of doing something and you do see me calling right back and calling, and you're not asleep and you're just ignoring me or something like that. Say, that's also
is actually what I do. I actually am a texter. I would be like, okay, I'm gonna call you back in a sec.
And that stops that.
Yeah.
Now if somebody just keeps calling after that, now you're becoming a pest.
Yeah. Now that's just getting out of control. But yeah, I always thought that, because when I'm with friends and they back to back phone calls, it to me appears as the outside person like that person gonna punch you in your eye. It makes it appear that person is threatening you or is gonna do something. It's like your mama or your daddy saying, I bet you better.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? I bet you better do this, that, and the other, and a lack of respect of you as an adult.
So being of that, and just to like put some detox in there.
Yes, get some detox.
Okay, just to put some detox in there because you're talking about relationships, punch people in the eyes, and this and that.
That's a joke, guys, but you know what I mean. It's threatening.
So I found something for us for detox tea, and this is something, once again, y'all, I just have to be. I constantly read things like this myself because I have to control my emotions. If you guys listen to the first part of the show, I told you exactly who I was and how I am. So keep cool when you're angry. So these are three key things that you can do when you're upset, angry, emotional, getting back-to-back phone calls, things like that. Okay. First thing, don't speak. Instead, take a few deep, calming breaths. So let it go.
That's the hard part.
Let it go.
How do you gently let something go? Examine
the core of what's making you feel so emotional and the source of your anger and stress or frustration.
Mm-hmm. And just like I said, the reason why the back-to-back phone calls bother me, the source of that is abuse. And I have been in an abusive relationship. Mm-hmm. And I've been already fucked with in that way. So any indication of the fuckery, and we've all been at the will of a boss or something at some time in your life. And it just feels that energy feels threatening to me. Mm-hmm. So yes, we have examined. So detox, examine. So, and then allow your breath to clear and soothe your mind so you can manage your emotions in a calming and collected way. Mm-hmm. And that's it. And then don't answer the fucking phone. And don't answer the phone. Send that text back. And with that being said, guys, we're definitely 3 minutes over our time. Thank you guys so much for watching. What? Go ahead. But it's only 3 minutes. But it's only 3 minutes, and we started closer to 8:30. So absolutely, you guys can go to bed. Good night. Yeah. I'm going to bed. Good night. I'm going to go de-stress, declutter, and are you going to examine where those emotions came from or whatever? Oh, I know where they came from. So the examination, the root of it. So now I have to how am I going to proceed going forward? Yes, that's always a question. How am I going to make the situation change with my determination to be better? Absolutely. And that's what I got to focus on. Because you are the master of this ship. Okay? You have the power. So everybody, thank you for tuning into SipsTea the Show. Thank you so much, James. We are going to keep pushing. Yes. Thank you so much for tuning in for the conversation and collaboration. I hope everybody got something out of this show. We will see you right back here next Wednesday. You're watching SipsTea the Show, and we love you to life. Bye. Energy living. Positive.